Okay, welcome everybody. Today is January the 27th. Let me make sure, 27th. And you have joined Heather Rice's Zoom team call. And this is a call that we do weekly. So if you aren't able to make it, we are recording this for you guys. And tonight I'm super excited because we have a very special guest. A lot of you guys already know her, but for those of you who don't, she is a Diamond Gold Ambassador with Plexus Worldwide, and her name is Rayne Anderson, and she happens to be my BFF as well. So I get to do life with her pretty regularly and closely, and she's a great mentor and a great friend to me, and she has encouraged me in my journey as well. So I hope that you guys enjoy tonight, and when we get done, we're going to go ahead and unmute everybody, and that way you guys can speak up and ask any questions that you might have. For right now, I'm going to go ahead and manage you guys by muting, and I'm going to mute Rayne for a second, but Rayne, you can unmute yourself when it's time to chat. Or maybe I can do it. Hold on, I got to get this cookie thing off my screen. Okay, Rayne, I unmuted you. Everybody else is muted. Okay, so many of you guys have told us that you are in need of some specialized training so that you feel more equipped to be able to run your businesses successfully. And so we've kind of put together a little thing this morning. I'm sorry, we've talked about this before today, not this morning, but we put together some questions, and also Rayne has some great information she wants to share with us tonight. Our topic is going to be credibility versus capability. And a lot of you guys have expressed to me that you have issues with maybe going and starting a conversation with somebody. You guys feel challenged in the area of following up with them. You don't know what to say if they express maybe they're not happy with something, or they give you some negative feedback. That's always a challenge to learn. And so tonight we kind of want to equip you guys to be able to kind of focus on your businesses in a way that makes you feel comfortable and confident, and that you can share with others the gift that we have with Plexus, because we all know what a great gift it is for us. And so I wanted to start out by just saying some of the main things that I like to talk to people about when they're doing this, whether you're new or old, is that you have to be a product of the product. That's so important, and you guys all know that, but I'm just trying to reiterate. And when we talk to people, really it's about relationships, and it's about the ability that you have to present yourself in a way to people that they are receptive to what you have to say. And you do that by cultivating relationships with people. And I'm going to ask Rayne now. She's got a couple really great testimonies that just happened this last week, and I've asked her to share those with you. So Rayne Anderson, take it away.
Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone. Everyone's super busy, and so I want to thank you all for, popping on this call tonight and being a part of it. Anytime you make an investment in yourself, you are doing a great thing. And so I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here, because this shows us that you're committed to your Plexus business. But I wanted to share with you guys, as a lot of you know, and for those of you that don't know, Plexus Worldwide opened their new corporate headquarters this past weekend, had a grand opening, if you will, and they invited some ambassadors. Actually, it was open to everybody, but they actually invited the diamonds out there to be a part of the celebration. And so with that required me to get on a plane this weekend and travel to the beautiful state of Arizona, and I found myself in Scottsdale, and it was amazing. And, and I will tell you guys, just pat yourselves on the back for being a part of Plexus, because we are in such a huge growth mode. And I will let you all know that we have a 90-year lease on the land that Plexus Worldwide is built on. And by the way, it's 105,000 square feet. So it's a huge building, and I want you to feel very good about joining a company that's on solid ground. And so be happy about that. So, but with that, I had to get on a plane, and I'm not a super fan of flying. Many of you may not know that about me, but I'm not a big fan of it. But I like to embrace, I look at anything that challenges me as an opportunity to grow. And so anytime I find myself in a situation of travel, I try to put myself in a situation where I can meet someone new. And so this weekend, we have 2 stories to share with you, and hopefully this will help you when you're trying to make conversation with someone that you don't know. And as Heather mentioned, everything that we do is about relationship. And so when I find myself in a position to meet someone new, I focus on the relationship. We all want the opportunity to present itself to discuss Plexus because we're so passionate about it and we believe in it. But what can often happen is that we put our need to share Plexus above the opportunity to get to know someone else. So I would like to share with you my first encounter in the airport on my trip. And Steve and I found ourselves killing time in the airport, and we went to a restaurant to eat. We were just having a quiet little lunch between the 2 of us, but then the opportunity presented itself, and we started chatting with the woman next to us. And y'all, I literally had, if Plexus came up, that was fine, but we started chatting, and she started because the conversation came up just as, what are you doing in Arizona? Why are you here? And that was a question I asked her. And that opened up a huge discussion. And it just so happens that she was there because she was interviewing a birth mother to adopt a child. And that led into a very, I would almost say a heart dump on her end, because she had just a lot of, adoption is an amazing thing, but it's also a very scary thing for people. That I realized this weekend, that adoption isn't always about, the popular girl getting pregnant and she comes from a great family, and it's just that situation. There's often cases of abuse and what have you. So she was just literally heart dumping on us, is the best way I know to put it. And then that conversation led into Heather calling, letting us know Sadie wasn't feeling well, and us having a discussion about, and here's how organically this conversation went. And I'm just trying to not give you so many details that you get bored, but for you to understand that this was genuinely a conversation of both Steve and I investing in her, listening to her about her potential growth of her family. But then Heather called and let us know that Sadie wasn't feeling well, and so she was a part of our discussion of, yes, please, Heather, take her to the doctor. And then Heather had called back and let us know that they were going to write her an antibiotic prescription. So that led to Stella, the lady that we met in the airport, asking me if I knew the importance of a probiotic. And I said, it's funny that you mentioned that. And so that opened up and led into the opportunity to talk about Plexus. I only mentioned it to her briefly because she's like, I said, oh, it's funny that you mentioned that. Yes, I work for a health and wellness company, and that is one of the heartbeats of our company is our probiotic. And I went in, I was excited to brag about the probiotic. And then I reeled it back in, and she was like, well, why are you here? And so then I told her about how amazing Plexus is and the 105,000 square foot building. And so here's the deal. We had a great conversation. I invested in her, and in turn, she invested in us. But we didn't leave it there. I just told her, I said, Stella, I have so enjoyed talking to you. And I said, I'm not crazy creeper girl. I said, I would just love a way for us to be able to stay in touch with one another. I said, now, I said, I'm invested in your life and I want to know what happens with this adoption, whether y'all go through with it or you don't. I said, I just want to know more about you. And so right then and there, you know, I said, are you on Facebook? And she said, I am, but I'm not a huge Facebook person. I said, no problem. I said, let's friend each other right now on Facebook. I said, but in the meantime, let me give you my card. And she said, great, let me give you my card. And that's just how organically that went. There was no huge intent of me going, okay, let me tell you about Plexus. It just came up organically. And I know that there are times that you're not going to be stuck in an airport and have 30, 45 minutes to get into a major discussion like that. But when you meet people that you genuinely connect with at the heart, this is when it's so very important to figure out a way to be able to connect with them again in life, whether that's via Facebook or saying, hey, I'm going to text you my business card right now. I'd really like to continue this conversation. I'd really like to continue getting to know you, because I felt like we could be friends for life just in this small conversation. And I think when we open ourselves up to that type of connection, we can move forward in establishing a relationship. And then story 2 is on the way home from Scottsdale. Steve and I, we flew Southwest, and you don't get to choose your seat, so we ended up in the back of the plane and back behind this group of people that were coming to town and to Dallas for their bank convention. Well, these people were just having so much fun and just really enjoying the plane ride a lot. And so at the very end of the flight, we're in the very back, so it takes the plane forever to deboard. But I step, again, you know, we talk about stepping out of our comfort zone, and you would think, okay, by the time someone reaches, you know, a gem or jewel status, oh, they don't have, you know, their comfort zone is accomplished. You know, they no longer have a discomfort in any zone. That's not true. You know, you still will always get those kind of butterflies, like, should I approach this person? Or what if they think I'm crazy? But at the end of the day, the way I look at it is, I am just going to connect with someone from the heart. And so as the plane was trying to get empty, I just tapped this girl on the shoulder and I was like, hey, I said, oh my gosh, y'all were having so much fun on this flight. And she said, oh my goodness, probably too much fun, right? And I said, no, but that's what I loved about it. And I said, you know, there's just something about your spirit that I'd love to be able to visit with you more about. An opportunity that in my company, I'm looking to expand my network. And she was like, well, tell me what you do. And so I, you know, briefly told her about Plexus. And I said, you know, I'm not going to be able to tell you or convey my passion in 2 minutes. I said, I'd love for us, again, friend, I go, you're on Facebook? She's like, yeah, absolutely. I said, I'd love to just be able to even spend 10 minutes with you, like 10 uninterrupted minutes, where either we get on a Zoom call or, you know, we Facebook message back and forth. But let's do that. And she was very open to it. She's like, well, I'm always interested in learning different ways to make money. So those are 2 very organic, not too crazy ways that you can put yourself out there in life to connect with people and from the heart and establish a relationship that is sincere. So I hope that helps you in developing that confidence to just have a conversation. And then you may not get to mention Plexus in those few moments that you get to connect, but what you can do is open up the door to continue that connection, to build that relationship, so maybe, hopefully, and eventually you could discuss Plexus.
Rayne, thank you for sharing those 2 stories. I love how you got involved in their life. I think a lot of times we have the tendency to, and I know a lot of you guys have commented that you feel like you puke Plexus on people. I love the fact that Rayne actually did more of the listening before she actually made any kind of interjection to the comments that were made back to her. And so I think that the approach, for one, gives you credibility, because you're the one that listened first. Don't you think that's part of it, Rayne?
I do. And we're going to, whenever you're ready, we can talk about,
You can go right ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm no stranger to talking, Heather, so you just let me go.
I mean, either, so.
I know it. So
fire away. We know you have lots of nuggets to share.
Well, and and here's the thing. When Heather and I discussed me being on this Zoom call with y'all, I really, I'm one of those that likes to get my thoughts out and kind of do a brain dump on paper, because I want to make sure that I convey my thoughts and that I'm detailed in them, that I just don't assume that you're in my head. And so one of the things that came up when Heather and I were talking about the Zoom call was the awesome opportunity that Plexus provides us. And here's the cool thing. Every single person in this world, honestly, is capable of being a successful Plexus ambassador. And that is a really cool thing, because I can't say that that is necessarily a true statement for all industries or all careers out there. But what I can say, in being a Plexus ambassador for almost 3 years now, is that I am confident in saying that every single person is capable of being a Plexus ambassador, or successful Plexus ambassador. But what is capability? And so today I looked up, exactly what is capability. And it's really about what you are able to do or achieve. Would everyone just, I know we're all muted, but just nod your head if you agree that, capability is about what you're either able to achieve or what you can, or what you can do. It relates to your potential. And so that's the exciting thing here, is that you guys have seen so many different leaders within Plexus, and all of them have different backgrounds and ages and experiences, but we all have the potential to do Plexus. But here's the little kicker, and this is where Heather and my conversation went deeper. It's capability versus credibility. Now, credibility starts with belief. And this is where I want to back it up and tell you what I mean by that. Credibility starts with belief in yourself. So it's not just about how other people perceive you or what they think about you. It's what you can and will do and how you see yourself in being able to accomplish that. So credibility inspires others to follow your lead. Capability has nothing to do with that. So, we talk about capability alone won't change things for you. So think about it this way. Credibility, how would you feel about somebody, let's say, someone maybe someone you work with, or someone, I can speak to this example directly. I have a friend who's my age, 43 years old, and he is a multi-degreed individual, has actually several MBAs, very credited, but he does nothing with them. He's stuck in the same job making less than $100,000 a year, and somebody who has multiple MBAs, you would think, would be in a six-figure salary range. So you can lose credibility if you don't utilize your training and your preparedness. Does that make sense to everyone? That you can go out and, it's not just about the degrees either. I'm talking training courses. I see so many people, certifying themselves in different areas. But if you don't do anything with it, then you lose credibility. And so and that can be damaging in the long run. And so what I want to talk to you guys about is ways to build yourself as a credible leader. And the first way I would say you would do this is by being honest. Now, some of these things you guys have down pat. Like some of these areas may not be areas that you need to develop in. But your your team, your Plexus sidelines, they want to view you as credible. And in doing that, I think the first key is you've got to be honest. You have to have a sense of trust between you and the people that you're working with. And in this case, we're working with our Plexus friends. And every leader has detractors, and that's my second cue. And I don't know how many of these I have. I might have 10 or 12 of them. Are detractors. And so these are people that don't accept your authority. They doubt your abilities. And here's the thing, we are all, no matter how credible you are, you're always going to have these naysayers. And what I say you have to do is put them in their box, close that box, and don't give them an audience. I heard somebody say a while back that lions aren't worried with what sheep say, and I would tell you that you have to take on that attitude, is that own your credibility and be confident in that. Additionally, education. We talk about this all the time in Plexus, that the more you know, the more you grow. Now, my challenge for you is not just learning, but then applying that where you can be seen as a more credible leader. So it's great if you know a lot about Plexus products, for example, but if you don't utilize that knowledge in your business, you lose credibility with since we're talking about being leaders, let's just focus on our downlines at this point. You lose credibility with your downline. So let's talk confidence. A leader needs to develop that basic understanding that they are competent to their team. Are you really going to want to genuinely be mentored, or because we don't want to talk about following someone, but maybe duplicating someone who's less than competent, correct? So we want to make sure that in our situations that we exude that we are, competent in handling our task ahead of us. Okay, so actions. This is so important. We always talk to our teams about, I've got this challenge for you, and I'm asking you to do this. But how hard would it be for you all to accept a challenge from Heather or from myself if you didn't see Heather and I doing that ourselves? How can we ask you to grow your teams if we haven't been willing to do the same thing? And so I can genuinely say that Heather would never ask anything of you all that she hasn't already done herself or that she isn't currently doing. And so I would ask you all the same question. Are you asking your team to do something, actions, goals, what have you, that you haven't fully committed to? Accountability. Okay, this one's a tough one because we all need someone that we're accountable to. And you have noticed lately by the challenges on Team All In that these are challenges of accountability, because at the end of the day, true leaders are accountable for their steps in reaching their goals. And so these are the action items that Heather and I are trying to instill in you all. And you're doing, by the way, such a great job at it. But that we want you to have, for example, the one today was goals with deadlines. That is so incredibly important. Y'all, when I joined Plexus, and I really try to break down the steps. What have I done? What have I done to be successful in Plexus? And that is one of the first things I did. The day I joined Plexus, I took that big goal of wanting to become a Diamond Ambassador. And I said, and I'm going to do this by 1 year to the date. And I wrote it down and I tucked it away. It didn't loom over me like a dark cloud. That's just was always in the back of my mind. And then I had to break out, how was I going to get there? I met with a teammate today who's trying to get to gold. And she is about, let's see, sorry, I'm so bad at math, y'all. It's crazy that I run like multi-million-dollar company, but she needs 6 ambassadors to get to gold. And so we were talking about, okay, what does that look like for your team that you've already grown? How close are you to this? And so when we really, we stopped looking at points, we broke it down into people, and I said, you realize you only need 6 people, and she's wanting to accomplish this by March. And I said, and she had one on the way, and I said, so technically we're only looking at 5 people of your team of now 15. I think y'all can do that. And I even challenged her. I said, I think you could probably do it before March, because if you get everybody duplicating like we're supposed to do, then she should be there. And so my point is that you back into those goals and you set yourself realistic and goals that you can hold yourself accountable to, or find that partner that can kind of check in with you and go, hey, Delana, how are we doing on, accomplishing X, Y, Z? Because from time to time, we all need that little nudge. I work out in the mornings, and if I didn't have a group of girls that I worked out with, I don't know how accountable I'd be to get there every day. Because I'll be honest with you, that's like, I do it because I know it's good for me, but it's not, still after, 7 years of faithfully working out, it's not necessarily something I look forward to doing on a daily basis. And so we talked about accountability, and now we're going to talk about in building credibility and leadership, being focused. You can apply this in all areas of Plexus, not just in leadership of your team, but now I'm talking about the business side, with your customers. You must be focused. A good leader is focused on his or her goals and guides the team towards those goals. It is very important to be transparent with your team. Both Heather and I have been very transparent with you all, letting you know at the beginning of the year what our goals were personally for our own selves. And I came out and I said, I personally would love to see my 3 emeralds promote this year to sapphire or diamond. And so that's one of my goals. And then additionally, I'd like to see 10 other jewels on our team collectively. And so I was very honest with you all of what I want to do. So then we have to figure out, okay, how are we going to get there? And what I will tell you, and here's a secret for all of you, for your businesses, is, we want to create those jewels on our team, but how do we get there? We teach people to go silver. We try to get every single person on our team silver. And the reason why we do that is because that creates momentum. Once you figure out how to get 3, you just do that over and over again. And literally, when somebody gets 3 people for the first time, they get a $100 bonus from Plexus, and then they have 3 people that they can lock arms with and make a business out of this. And if everybody starts duplicating and finding those 3 people, y'all, this was one of the things we discussed in our lunch today, is because the question was raised, and I know several of you have raised this question, is how do we motivate team members that just aren't there, that just don't get it? How do I instill that life and energy into my team? And the truth of the matter is not everybody's in the same place in your team. Not everybody wants to be a diamond. Not everybody grasps that big picture, but I would feel pretty confident that most people on your team want to know how to get their products paid for. And then it's like that bug just kind of catches on, and you're like, well, if I had 3 people do this and I got a $100 bonus, what would happen if those 3 people got 3 people? Or I could just go out and get 3 more people. Because the reality is, for every 3 people you get, you're lucky to get one that really wants to work the business with you. And so I find, and where I found the momentum on our team catches the most fire, is when we're focusing on that mid-level range, that getting people to silver, and then once you're silver, getting them to gold. Because honestly, y'all, when you break out your numbers and you look at what it takes to go diamond, and someone who's much smarter than me figured this part out, because again, I don't do math, you need about 45 golds to get yourself to a diamond level. So a lot of times we're focusing on like, oh, well, how am I going to get people to ruby and emerald and sapphire? Y'all, when I turned diamond, I had Heather and Crede were both emeralds, and Jen Mango turned emerald the next month. Everybody else was sitting at silver, gold, and senior gold. So there was, and we may have had one other ruby in there. But my point is that we didn't do this. I didn't do this with a bunch of other jewels in my downline. And so I want that to be a source of encouragement for you, that if you can get your silvers really catching on to the vision of what this business can be and getting them to duplicate and then getting them to teach duplication. And y'all, duplication is not hard. We are literally talking about, teaching people to talk about the opportunity and then showing other people how to, just as you were trained, on how to get people on your team, and that's really what this is about. It's like that shampoo commercials from back in the day, and maybe some of you are way too young to remember this, but, and they told their friends, and then we all kind of look like this Brady Bunch screen that we have going on here. And that is the power of the duplication, is that you will have all this little gallery of photos in your downline. That's a visual for you right there. So we talked about focus and accountability, and now I want to talk to you about loyalty. And again, these are all areas to focus on in building our credibility, whether that's in our, our team or with our customers. But loyalty is huge. If anybody on my team knows anything, it's that I always have your back, and that I'm loyal to your efforts in this business. And so, we kind of create, I say, and I'm going to refer to Team All In as our bigger team here, but Heather's done an amazing job of doing this with Team Heather as well. Creating this unity within, knowing that this is your safe spot. And so, you have that loyalty for your leaders when you feel that place of safety. So, and then hand in hand goes trust with that. And that starts with building that trust with our customers. Now, you guys, we are so blessed that we work for a company that has amazing products. So it is very easy to build that trust with our customers because, our products work. And so what we say, when we say what a probiotic does, it really does that. And so that's something that you can feel confident about, that you have tools to go out there and build that trust with your customer base, and in turn build that trust. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you're going to show up for an appointment, be there and be 100% present. I encourage you. It is so easy to constantly have your phone out, but if you are, if you're at lunch with one of your ambassadors or a potential, be 100% there in that moment. Put the phone away. If you're with your family, be 100% in that moment with your family. And then respect. I think that goes, that doesn't need a ton of explanation. You have to have respect to have credibility. And then 2 more points, and then we can turn it back over to Heather. But recognition, lifting others up. The key to success in your Plexus business and life is really recognizing those around you, lifting others up. And that is, I can honestly say, I feel like that's the heart and the culture of what Plexus is all about. I've worked in corporate America, and I can't always say that lifting each other up and, helping each other over the wall and truly being excited for one another's successes is typical corporate culture, but it is definitely that of Plexus and definitely that of our teams and our smaller team. And then live your values, lead with your values. That does not mean that every single person on your team is going to share your same core value belief. But, for example, we talk about all this Plexus freedom, and I truly believe that it's very important to live that as a value. That doesn't mean you're not going to make sacrifices for your Plexus business, But if you say that you are going to live a life of freedom and put your family first, then you need to do that. And, and I think that's so important. Like again, referring back to the lunch I had today, because it's fresh on my mind, we had a very frank conversation, and this girl was like, I feel like I'm so glad to hear you say that you put the phone down and that you're not always on the computer, or that you save things for the next day. She said, because, I found that because I'm so excited about Plexus, I tend to, okay, I'll do bedtime story tomorrow night. And I told her, I said, you've got to stay true to your values. Don't give up, because she was talking about possibly giving up her leadership role in life group. And I said, don't do that. I said, because, A, we want to put God first in all things, but then B, you're sacrificing a part of who you are at the core. That doesn't mean we won't make sacrifices for Plexus along the way. Heather and I can attest to, many nights, away hosting meetings, or even our travel for fun with Plexus is a sacrifice to be away from our families. So that doesn't mean in hard work there won't be those challenges of sacrifice, but please, remain true to your values. I cannot stress that enough, because as you grow as leaders, you will be stretched in that area. And I don't want you all to lose who you are, nor the credibility with your team, because if I sit here and tell you as a diamond ambassador that I'm living a life of freedom, but then you see me have meetings every single night, or you see me hosting events 6-7 times a month, am I really living a life of freedom? I don't think so. So that's something that I want you all to think about as you continue to grow yourselves as leaders. And I'm grateful for each one of you to allow me to share some of the things that have helped me to get to this level of Plexus, and to be able to pour into you and help you become your very best leader, because that's what these calls are all about, is leadership development for you all. So again, thank y'all so much. I love seeing y'all's faces.
Thank you, Rayne. We always are blessed when we have you to give us your wisdom. One of the things that what really resonated with me, and I wrote it down while you were talking, was I love how you told in your little story over the weekend that you love talking to those people. With both of those people, you made an effort to capture their information so that you could further develop a relationship with them. Because in the end, God may not have put you in that spot in that moment of time to sell anybody anything, but because of the fact that you were available and you reached out and you listened to their needs first, the girl that was adopting the child and knew so much about probiotics may start to see your posts since you asked her to friend you on Facebook. So I love that you said you really reached out that hand of friendship with her, first of all, and that you genuinely enjoyed the conversations that you were having with these people. You guys, we don't have to have any kind of forced, awkward conversations. And I know that a lot of you guys do struggle with how to conversate with people. But I want you guys to also know that whether or not you are an extrovert or an introvert, or whether or not you suffer with panic attacks or social anxiety, any of that, you still are capable of overcoming those fears. And I was talking to Jasmine today, and we were just talking about how, everybody in whatever group of people they are blessed with knowing, they all are going to reach different people different ways. And so I love the fact that this company and just the nature of our business allows us to be able to really delve into the relationship part, because really whenever we extend the hand of friendship to somebody, then we are in essence telling them, trust me. Trust that what I'm saying, or trust that what information I'm giving to you is going to be beneficial to you. And so that's why I think it's so important that when we talk to people, we also capture their information. So if you get into a conversation with somebody and they ask for your card, or you say, here, let me give you my card, definitely try to make it a point to tell them, I would love to stay in touch with you. Whatever it is we've talked about today has really struck a chord with me and this resonates. Don't be fake, be genuine, because they're going to be able to tell if you're fake. But I love the idea of handing them your phone and saying, find me in Facebook. If they're on Facebook, that's a great conduit, because not only do they see your stuff, if they comment on it, it starts being in their news feed. And so other people that are friends with them that are like-minded also see that. Exchanging cards, focusing on just really developing those relationships. I wanted to share a real quick story. Somebody posted something yesterday on just liked one of my comments on something that I had posted, and it dawned on me that I had not talked to this person in like well over 10 years. And so something in me, maybe it's just the fact that I'm getting better with approaching my chicken list people, my people that I'm scared to talk to. I sent her a message, and I just basically said, I don't know if you know what I've been doing lately, but I've been doing Plexus for almost 3 years, and this is what it's about, and I'd really be interested in sharing if you were interested in hearing more about it. Turns out we had a 2-hour conversation last night. Sent her some sample today in a catalog, and I think she's probably going to end up being my next ambassador. But had I not really acted on when I saw her, sometimes you have to seize those opportunities right when they happen, and really kind of have your feelers out for situations so that you can act on those things right away. And I think that those are the kind of situations that produce long-term either customers or ambassadors, because they start to see, oh, she cares about me. She wants to know what's going on in my life. This friend that those of y'all that were on here earlier, we were talking about that I'm making some chicken noodle soup right now for a friend that's got the flu, her and her mom. And I honestly had not seen her in 20 years. And I said, I'll make you some soup. I'm going to drive to Garland tomorrow and take it to her. That's a long way away. But she's also somebody that I'm cultivating a relationship with again. She's already asked me about products. I've already sent her samples. So I'm going to continue to cultivate this relationship with her. I want her to know that she's more important to me than just being a customer. I want to go ahead right now and open up, unmute you guys, and allow you guys to ask any questions, make any comments. I know you'll want to take opportunity with having Rayne on the line with us too.
Well, and before we open it up, I want to also interject an example of what happened today, and just helping you all take a moment when you're out and about, in your life.
Sorry, I muted you for a second. I'm sorry.
No worries. So when you're out and about doing life, how quickly Plexus and how, help you develop these conversations organically. So as you know, I was having lunch today, and the waiter was great. He'd come by, fill our drinks, get our order, what have you. But at the end, he's like, I couldn't help but overhear what y'all were talking about. Are y'all talking about Plexus? And I said, yeah, it's funny that we are. And he ended up kind of crazy. He's like, I kind of recognize you from Facebook. He's like, is your name Rayne? And I said, yeah, it is. And he goes, you do a lot with Plexus. I said, yeah. He goes, yeah, my friend so-and-so does it. My friend so-and-so does it. And I said, okay, well, let me ask you a question. Why aren't you doing it? And he goes, because no one's asked me. And so I said, well, I'm asking you. And I said, I said, tell me, I said, you've obviously heard about it. I said, why do you think this product would be great for you? He goes, honestly, I could use more energy, and I had surgery, a couple months ago on some disc and blah, blah, blah. So we get in a conversation, and I'm truly just then, I shut my mouth and I let him do the talking. And I said, well, I think, I said, I don't have to tell you why you need it. You already know why you need it. I said, so here we go. I said, I'm giving you my card. And I said, and I need a way to get back in touch with you. I said, because if you're anything like me, I said, you need someone to kind of follow back up with you to make sure that this happens. I said, because I'm getting the vibe from you that you really want to do this. And so, really want to try these products. And he's like, no, seriously, I do. He goes, and you're right. I'm that person who will probably lose your card or whatever. So here's my number. And please, yes, follow up with me. So, it was just that simple. It was being a little bit bold because, of course, I'm like, well, why haven't you done it? If you've seen all these posts and you kind of recognize me and whatever, so why haven't you? And he just seemed so like, I don't know. I guess no one's really asked me. Isn't that crazy that he's seen all these posts for all this time? And it was simply just because somebody didn't ask him. And I use that example a lot, you all, when I talk about how if I'm running through the mall and someone's like, you get those counters that are like, hey, I just stopped to buy lip gloss, and they're like, hey, you want a whole makeover? Or we're doing an event in October. Would you be interested in having your makeup redone in October? And of course I'm like, yeah, but I don't know what I'm doing in October. And the chances are I'm not going to follow up with that person. But the reality is I am really interested in having my makeup done for free. But I'm more likely to go in if they follow up with me. And I'm not annoyed if they call me because we just had a conversation about it. So I think when you set that expectation up of, I'm going to call you, and then you really do it, guess what you've just done? You've built trust with your potential customer. And in building trust, you're building credibility. And so you see how all these things are so very important. And the cool thing I want to tell you is that maybe you haven't seen yourself as credible. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to start there. So you've got to lock in and build that in yourself. But then too, maybe your audience hasn't seen you as credible. The cool thing is you can change that by your actions.
Very good. That is so true. By the way, I'll do your makeup if you need to. You don't have to go back to them.
Well, I'll always take it. She's the best makeup.
Okay, so I'm going to unmute y'all. Ooh, lots of phones ringing.
That's business happening, Heather.
And if you want to stay muted, feel free. Oh no, where did y'all go? Can y'all still see me?
Yes.
Oh crud, I can't see y'all. What did I hit? Hang on, y'all. I'm a ding-a-ling when it comes to this. I don't know where y'all went.
Now we can't see you. Now you're back. Nope, you're gone.
I'm gone? Okay, hang on.
Now you're back.
I see. I haven't lost you, Heather.
I can't see any of y'all though, so hang on.
You hid the participant.
I did?
Mm-hmm.
How do I unhide y'all?
That's so mean.
At the bottom.
Hang on, y'all. I never claimed to be a technical guru. Oh gosh, that got really big. Hold on.
Heather, what do you see? Heather, what do you see?
I see your meeting should start in a few seconds.
Okay, so try and click and get behind that. It's just that the screen is probably behind.
Back to meeting. There y'all are.
This is awesome.
Gosh, I'm an idiot. Okay.
Thank you,
All
Jennifer.
right. So those of you who want to stay muted, you can stay muted. Those of you who want to chatteroo, go right ahead. Do we have anyone that? Ooh, let me stop recording. Hang on.